ballpark, no offense, like freaking 3-year-old child could probably hit 20 home runs in that stadium. I mean, that's how I feel about that stadium. And even Philly's ballpark is very, very small as well.
Bandbox.
It's a bandbox.
Well, actually, I used to call that the flower box.
And they should really move back the minimum dimensions in a major league ballpark, in my mind at least.
Well, they're never going to touch Yankee Stadium because, it's the cathedral, even though it is the second stadium.
It's not the cathedral.
It's exact dimensions of the original, so if they weren't going to touch the original, why should they touch the...
I honestly thought if...
Cathedral, my ass. It wasn't the first stadium ever built.
Exactly. If you're going to make the dimensions exactly the same as the first stadium, then why even make a brand new stadium?
Well, because you need a shopping mall and a steakhouse and a Hard Rock Cafe and, $16 like ice cream shops and stuff. You need those. It's
an essential part of baseball.
No more, you had to walk to the mezzanine level just to get nachos. You get nachos everywhere.
You have to get nachos
it could be
every
a
5
kosher
steps.
stand. You're going to get kosher nachos.
Yep.
It doesn't matter. You're going to pay like $15 for them. As a Met fan, the old Shea Stadium being a dump that it was, but it was our dump.
It was our home, and that's the point of it.
It didn't matter if you walked through the corridor and the upper deck was leaking on you. You still had a mission, and every level had one significant different stand.
Exactly.
It wasn't available on every stand.
Yep.
So you used to go into Casey's and used to get your nachos and your soda and and then certain levels had one corner had all the kosher food and the only thing that was really on every level other than your normal everyday concession stands was premium sausage.
Yeah. Which is actually my first. It's actually my first stop whenever I go to Citi Field. First thing I do, spicy sausages and peppers.
I mean,
grab a beer.
thank God that's available on both sides of the stadium.
Yes.
You never realized how big Shea Stadium was until you had to walk from like the left field foul pole to the right field.
To the right field foul pole, or
just
even
to get a sausage.
Yeah.
Because when they were bad, and there was times when they were really bad, they wouldn't open up all the concession stands.
No.
So you might be in the right field corner, and that premium sausage stand isn't open, but they'll be like, oh, but the one in the left field corner is. Oh,
and
great.
you would walk.
You would literally have to walk the entire length of the stadium, a half moon circle, to get the sausage, and then by the time you got back to your seat, it was gone.
Yeah, basically.
You ate it all already.
And then you sit down,
and
sit
down, and whoever you went to was like, "Where's your food? I ate it already."
I'm hungry already, though.
Yeah, I worked up an appetite walking back eating. But it's just, that's the way it was. Now, forget it. It doesn't matter. The team could be terrible. The team could be good. They're so under contract with all these sponsors. It's just like every 5 seconds there's something to eat. Where it's a Shake Shack or,
Cracker Jack's here.
Well, Shake Shack. Shake Shack is... Shake Shack, the line is like an hour long, all game long.
Yeah.
From an hour... Actually, when I sit behind home plate, I sit about 10 rows behind home plate. Actually, I get in-seat service and don't even have to get up to go get my food. Spend the tickets, Citi Field, $160 to sit right behind home plate, and you get in-seat service.
Mr. VIP.
Always. When I go in style.
I don't know. I'm still, again, I'm a former 6-year season ticket holder at Shea, and it's just not complete without firing up the grill in the parking lot 4 hours before the game.
Yeah, well, I take the train because I like to drink and not have to worry about driving home and stuff.
You just crash someone's tailgate, that's all.
Look, hey, Met fans always know. Hey, you go to a 7-line game, take the train in, they take care of everything.
Let me tell you something. There was times where, I had my pickup and we tied down the grill in the back. We had bags of charcoal and all the coolers and everything else. And we'd go 3-4 cars deep and we'd, fly up to Shea. And, we'd get there and just the humidity or maybe it drizzled on the way there and damn it, our charcoal all night.
Yeah.
And, boom, there's 4 cars over. There's someone over there going, oh, you need charcoal? And they're walking over with like a bucket of charcoal for it. Or who needs a lighter? Who needs lighter fluid?
Hey, you need a burger? Here's a burger.
It didn't matter. Met fans always stuck together in the parking lot for tailgating. We're making burgers and hot dogs. The guy next to us is making sausages. Hey, want to trade two hot dogs for sausage?
Boom,
there
done.
You go.
Exactly.
It was a family.
And you know what? Hey,
I feel it's missing at Citi Field.
It is missing a little bit, and the one thing I don't... It's starting to feel more like home. I mean, we're 9 years in. Kevin, all 3 of us right here, we're all diehard Met fans. And you know what? First playoff since we got to Citi Field. And it is starting to feel more like home. And I think the atmosphere of being in the playoffs is going to do that for this team for the fans, make it feel more like home.
I hope so. But, go look to both the Mets and the Yankees, both in the postseason this year for the first time together since 2006.
Were the Yankees even in the playoffs in 2006?
Yeah.
They were?
Yeah.
Yes, they were. Because they lost in the first round.
Yeah. Their streak ended when the first year Girardi took over.
2008, right?
And then they went back and they won the World Series in 2009. And then they missed the playoffs 2 straight years.
Yeah, because they missed 2008. I was working for SNY in 2009, and that was when Joe Torre was
with the new stadium. They won the World Series in 2009.
Yes.
Yankee Stadium. They were in the playoffs for 2010, 11, 12, and they missed 13 and 14.
Yes.
So they're back again. So,
which, hey, I'm not a Yankee fan, but I give them props because I did not think they were even. I thought they were going to win. I think I had them at 79 and 83 this season.
It was easy to say that when you look at their roster at the beginning of the season, a bunch of no names, but that tells you what patience and surrounding those young players with veterans can do. And the Mets proved it. They got by just enough. They stayed afloat with their pitching and very mediocre hitting, and
mediocre doesn't
brought in some moves during the trading deadline area and on the deadline itself. And before you know it, they went from 3 games down to 8 games up, and the rest is
already won the division.
The rest is history, and they're playing today, last game of the regular season. And
actually, I just got a notification 0-0 at the end of the 6th inning.
Yeah. And it could, we'd like them to win going into the playoffs, a little momentum. But I'd rather them go into the playoffs healthy.
Yep. And that's what they are right now, besides Juan Uribe.
Plus, we want to be greedy and get that 90th win.
I want the 90th win just to say we won 90 games this season, because that's what Terry and Sandy predicted coming into the season was 90 wins.
Remember that? Remember everybody laughed at them?
Yep. 90 wins, the Mets? What are you talking about? They have no one.
Look at this bunch of bums we got.
Your pitchers are too young.
Harvey are going to have to throw no hitters every night. But getting back to what we
were talking about X-Pac
and
show.
Wrestling. We did a little flashback because that's how we started with this network.
Yep.
We started talking sports, and we ended our program with wrestling.
Yep.
So we did a little flip flop. We just started with a little baseball. Now we're gonna get into more wrestling.
The good old days when I used to talk baseball on this show.
Nick, before Nick was Nick the Beard, he was Nick, our New York Mets analyst.
Yes, I was. For probably about 3 months.
Yeah. The first 3 shows, I recommend not listening to them because they are terrible. JT and I sitting in my kitchen of my old Cliffwood Beach house.
Yep.
With one computer on a Lazy Susan so we can spin it back and forth. Another laptop. Both of our, we didn't have headphones because we didn't know we had to use stuff like that. We used the internal microphone of the laptop,
which is horrible.
Which was terrible because you had feedback every time the fan turned on. You heard it, and every time we would play a sound effect, it would cause feedback in the internal computer. And we had our buffalo pizza, which is kind of ironic because that's what I had before. We
had buffalo chicken wraps, so yeah.
Wow, it's like, but that's what we called home for three shows.
Yep, I only went to your old house once, and that was for the first JCW event that we went to, and I think it was November.
That's when
Kev's birthday.
Yeah, it was my birthday.
Oh yeah, it was his birthday weekend.
Birthday weekend, and that's when we met Al Snow and the Down Boys,
Jake the Snake.
Yep.
Ricky Reyes, Ricky O for me at least.
Destiny.
Yep, we met a lot of people.
We definitely did, and
we met
who knows
that much more yesterday.
That text to Jonathan. Hey yo, you wanna start an internet radio show for shits and giggles?
Why the hell not?
Right. We got nothing to do on a Sunday. It'll be over. We'll be over before the Sunday night game.
The funny thing is,
softball. We'll talk about the whack ass Knicks.
Yep. The funny thing is, I don't even remember how I heard about you guys. Somebody from another wrestling page posted something from the Damage 365 radio website, and I was like, "Oh, they're looking for a Mets analyst." Well, I'm a Mets fan. I like to talk sports. Why not shoot Kevin a message?
Yeah, and who knew? 2.5 years later. Working on going on 7 shows now on the network, and can't even tell you how many wrestling promotions we've been to and shows we've been to and conventions of people we've met, and in this past weekend a major step in the positive direction for this business.
Monkey was lifted off our backs yesterday.
We first time ever financially invested in a wrestling superstar, bringing them to a convention and praying for the profit.
Praying to just break even.
Not to the profit, praying for the profit.
For the profit.
You know, and
we actually almost doubled what we needed to make.
You know what? If we walked out of there with $20 each, I would have been happy.
Me too. I would have been ecstatic. But
we just, but
to say that we doubled what we needed to do.
We did very well. And, it was myself, Nick, and Dan from the Funkenstein Wrestling Superstore. We three-way invested, and we got our money back and some, and it was just it was
amazing.
Amazing experience. And I can't even say enough awesome things about Cowboy Bob Orton.
Bob Orton is, first of all, he's the coolest 65-year-old man I know.
I wish he was my grandfather.
I said that yesterday after we dropped him off. I wish Bob Orton was my grandfather. He is the coolest guy in the world. Just talking, it was so funny. Friday we picked him up from the airport. His plane got delayed like 4.5 hours.
Yeah.
So we picked him up. We're in the car. He's just talking.
Well, let's start off that we were in Staten Island.
Yes.
At a meet and greet with China. And there was no shock to anybody. It was an absolute drama that was going on at that particular meet and greet.
Yeah.
And no fault to China and no fault to the promoters.
Yeah.
It was just one of her people snapped, and
it was. I guess it was it was not. Maybe it was a misunderstanding. You don't really know. You don't know what both parties are thinking at the time. I understand where both parties were coming from, but I think maybe one of her people didn't understand the whole aspect of the signing, how it worked with this company,
for your time.
With these promoters, the three promoters that brought him in. I don't think they might have understood what entailed what was going on.
Your bottom line, it was no different than when we brought in Bob. Bob knows we're paying for his time. If we put 100 autographs in front of him, he's expected to sign 100. If we put 5 in front of him, he's expected to sign 5.
Exactly.
He already got paid. He's already paid for his time.
He's getting his money regardless. Exactly.
Just, we hope to prevent hand cramping, but still, it's part of the business. And apparently, her publicist or / agent wasn't informed or educated about how
exactly. So as I don't blame both parties about feeling the way they felt. It could have been handled a little differently, but
hey, everybody's a hothead.
Exactly. We all have our
cooler heads prevailed. They went outside, they talked it over, they came back. Unfortunately, China got stuck in the middle of it, didn't know what the hell was going on. And she came back. She signed some autographs, but we got our phone call from
Bob had arrived.
Hi, this is Bob.
This is Bob Orton, which is hilarious because obviously we all have Carl ID on our cell phones, but Bob, as awesome as he is, felt the need to
still has a flip phone.
Has a flip phone, and he
does not have a smartphone. He has a dumb phone.
Yep. His wife has a
smartphone, and he likes the fact that she concentrates more on the phone, because it gives him an opportunity to not have to pay attention to her and watch TV and stuff.
So he gave us a call. We literally bolted out of the door from Fun Station USA, where the China meet and greet was going on. We jumped on
the highway, headed to Newark Airport. We were there in 20 minutes. Picked up Bob, brought him to his hotel, the Sheraton in Raritan Center in Edison.
I want to say thank you to everybody at the Sheraton. Yeah. They took great care of Bob. They were actually big fans, which was awesome as well. So they made sure they took care of him.
I don't know all the names of everybody there, but I'd say Joey Harrical. Thanks for taking care of Bob. He dropped me a text when we went to go pick him up yesterday that he was working. So good job taking care of Hall of Famer there.
And it was just funny. Like, we're in the car driving Bob to his hotel Friday night, and he was talking to us. He talked to us about Randy and his wife and his life in general.
Yeah. And you could tell he was tired.
He was tired. I mean, he had a 4.5 hour delay. He was on an uncomfortable plane for 2.5 hours.
Then he loses an hour when he gets here.
Exactly. So he was tired. I mean, he was just talking. And then Saturday we pick him up, and Bob is like a ball of energy.
Yeah, 4 hours sleep. But he's got a ball of energy.
And he's good to go.
He's talking about the fruit he had for breakfast, and he really loved the free food.
Yeah.
We even brought him a breakfast sandwich. He was like, oh, no, I ate already. So But yeah, so that was cool. So and then late that night, Casey Carlisle arrived at my house.
Yep, around like 1 o'clock.